Welcome to the Limitless Growth Podcast with EO San Diego. I'm your host, Jason Lee, and I'm with President and Founder of Coastal Pay, Travis Chrisman.
Thank you, Jason. Nice to see you here. And I'm Travis Chrisman, the president of Coastal Pay. A little background on us. We're a credit card processing company based out of San Diego here. We've been in business for 11 years. We build software for the payment processing space, and we help merchants with all their payment processing needs.
So to start, Travis, what has been kind of your journey in business so far? So I know, we're in the same forum. I know you've had plenty of businesses you've started up, sold. So yeah, tell the audience more about kind of your journey in entrepreneurship.
Yes, thank you for having me, Jason. And it's definitely been quite the journey. When I was 19 years old, I started my first business, which was a pedi-cab business. Then started a speed dating business, then got into real estate. But 13 years ago, I started working in the credit card processing space and worked for two other companies before we started Coastal Pay. And Coastal Pay was the first company that kind of blew up. We hired 100 employees our first year and had a lot of growth challenges. And yeah, it's been quite a fun journey.
Nice. How did you first find out about EO?
I found out through mutual friends. I had 2 or 3 friends about 8 years ago that were in EO. And I admired their work ethic, their integrity, their drive and passion, and kind of how they framed EO for me.
Very cool. And tell us more about Coastal Pay. So what kind of gave you the idea to get into credit card processing, and how did you grow it so fast?
Yeah, so I took a year off work, and I read a book called What Color is Your Parachute? And the book basically guided me on going out and finding my passion. So I realized I was passionate about travel and I was passionate about sales. So I worked for 2 other credit card processing companies, and there's things that I thought we could do better, whether it was customer service, whether it was the culture and the team. And that pushed me and my business partner to start Coastal Pay 11 years ago.
Very cool. And how did you find your business partner?
So he was actually my manager at one of the previous credit card processing companies.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Cool.
That company was Payment Systems, and he was my manager there. And then we decided to move to another company, and we went together and we worked at a company called Securus Payments, and then we founded Coastal Pay.
Nice. So curious, how do you go from your partner being your manager to becoming, co-owners of a business?
At the end of the day, he's a very sharp guy, and at some times I still consider him my manager. We're very yin and yang. I'm an activator and he's analytical. Yeah. And so we just have that perfect dynamic duo in business, and very lucky and fortunate to have him as a business partner.
Very cool. And are you from San Diego originally?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I grew up in Chula Vista, and I went to middle school and high school in Coronado. My mom's a teacher at Coronado High School. She teaches statistics. So my love for numbers, that's where that comes from.
Nice. And going back to EO, what's been your, how long have you been in EO now for? You've been
Since April.
Since April, yeah. So not too long. What's been the biggest benefit of being in EO so far for you?
It's been since April, but I started going to some of the events several years ago. So I've gotten a little bit of the EO experience. But to answer your question, my favorite part of there's a lot, right? I love the forum. The forum is life-changing. I love all the events too. I think we're very lucky here in San Diego to have all the speakers and events that we do. Because even the 4 to 5 months, 6 months that I've been in, Jim Quick and all the speakers that we've had have been, Tony Robbins, in a short amount of time, what we've had access to, the CEO of Cloudbeds. Mm-hmm. It's very, very impressive. And you can't get that anywhere else.
Yeah. No, the Jim Quick event, the Limitless event was awesome.
Yeah.
Killer venue in La Jolla. That was such an awesome experience. You went to the Tony Robbins event too?
I did not. Unfortunately, I was out of town.
Got it. Yeah, I was out of town too. I want to go to that.
Yeah.
Cool. And as of you founded Coastal Pay how long ago, you said? Oh,
That was in 2013.
2013. Okay. So it's been about 11 years. So 2013 to now, what do you think has been like the biggest like struggles or constraints in the business that you've overcome?
Yeah, so we've definitely, I would say the first one is growing too fast, right? We hired 100 employees our first year in business. And, I really wish I would have had EO at that time, because we wouldn't be in the position we're in today. We would have worked through those struggles and challenges a little bit better. That was kind of the first one. I think the second one was we did a business dealing with someone that went completely south. We ended up suing him for $3 million. That was our second year in business. And so these were expensive and challenging growing pains that I didn't really have the resources. And I really wish I was in EO at a earlier date.
Man. And fast forward to today, has EO since April helped you overcome any current like struggles or kind of like unknowns in the business that you kind of didn't know about before?
Yeah, I think when we create awareness around our struggles with the company, is we kind of see like some of the struggles and the challenges. I think through the forum experience, what it's helped me do is really dive and narrow into some of the bigger challenges, identify them, and then, with support, identify ways to fix them, overcome them, and get through them a lot quicker. Right? So now I feel really good about, identifying this from our recent retreat, and now going out and making some progress there.
Yeah, that's what's so great about EO is like you just have a group of 7 to 8 other like peer mentors in your forum, and no one's telling you what to do, but they're all, weighing in on their past experiences, and you can kind of just take chunks of each of their experiences and like kind of like not advice, but kind of shared experiences on and making it your own, right? So that's been super cool for me as well.
Yeah, and some of the stuff is just really simple, right? Like I had a lunch meeting last week with one of our forum guys, and he said something very simple. And when you think about it, I like to complicate things, and when you break it down and make things just super simple, it's an eye opener, right? You don't know your blind spots, you don't know what you don't know, and when you hear that outside advice, which doesn't always come across as advice, it's more of those experience shares where they're just sharing what they've gone through.
Yeah.
And then you can relate to that, and then you put the plan in action, and we move forward.
Yeah. No, that's awesome. And what's been your favorite part so far about being in the EO San Diego experience?
That's tough. I would probably say the forum.
Forum.
Yeah, definitely the forum. The connection with the group, and I look at the connection as a 2-level. You've got the personal connection, which is amazing, and then you've got the business connection as well. So I see both parts of my life growing tremendously right now, personal and business.
Yeah, that was a big unexpected benefit of mine. Is like I thought I was just joining a full like business group, but they kind of teach you how to balance, work, family, and your personal life, and I thought that was really cool. I'm sure you're kind of seeing that as well.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Cool. And so you've known about EO for several years, but you joined in April. Just out of personal curiosity, why didn't you join when you knew about it several years ago?
Yeah, so the lawsuit that we got in put us in a pretty tight financial position.
Got it.
And we were just kind of working through that, trying to get our heads above water. And then once we finally got our head above water, then I think it just came down to priorities, right?
Yeah.
Pushing, to make it a priority and see the importance and the value in it.
Yeah.
Just still probably should have done it earlier, but.
Yeah. Are you okay with sharing more about what happened in that big lawsuit experience on the podcast?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it sounds like a really pivotal moment in your life, so I'm sure it could be useful for people to hear.
Yeah. So, our company, Coastal Pay, we're a credit card processing company. We sign merchant accounts for the credit card processing space. And we were referred over by a gentleman who purchased credit card processing portfolios and then sold them to companies like Goldman Sachs and Prudential on the back end.
Mm-hmm.
And so we engaged. We did, he lent us some money. He purchased one of our portfolios to kind of warm up the relationship. And then his third and final act was to take the portfolio from us and not pay us. And so, it left us in a very crippling position, right? When the person that's paying you doesn't pay you, you don't have money to pay your vendors, you don't have money to pay your team, you don't have money to pay lawyers to go after him. I think it was one of the biggest factors. Luckily, we had a second portfolio, so we were able to slightly keep our head above water. It took us about a year. We had to rebuild the company. We redid our model. And it took us about a year, but we ended up hiring a lawyer and suing him, and the lawsuit. It was $3 million we ended up settling. We had really, really good industry-specific attorneys that were giving us really good advice, and we ended up settling, which was good because one of the other guys that sued him won the lawsuit. The guy appealed, and then he won that appeal. And so they were out all the attorney fees, and it's just a mess. And, it kind of shed some light on our legal system. And, at the end of the day, kind of my takeaways were we had very buttoned up contracts, right? And I remember we had a board vote before we did this deal. And two of us voted no and two of us voted yes. And we came together, we talked through it, and we made a decision to do the deal. But, the learning lesson there was, listen to your gut. Your gut always tells you correctly. And so I've been more aware and try to listen to my gut a lot more. But it was a good learning lesson, right? Like, even though it was a big financial impact, at the growth rate we were on, I feel like we were going to have challenges. We were going to have very expensive lessons. And so if it wasn't that, it's going to be somewhere else, right? And so I think even though, a $3 million, losing $3 million at your second year of business seems like the end of the world, and your stomach drops when that happens. At the end of the day, those challenges push you to get through them. As long as you have the resilience and the persistence and the passion to get through them, at the end of the day, you grow from it.
Wow. So you talk about listening to your gut. Like, did you have a bad feeling about that guy when you first started doing business with him?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Was not we had, we get cues, right? Whether it's people that give us information or you hear stuff, red flags, however we want to frame it. But, we had heard some stuff, and I think deep down it was like, okay, like, let's be conservative and not take the risk. But at the end of the day, we decided to take the risk, and, I'm glad we did, because it allowed us to grow so much as a company. And I think sometimes if you don't take those risks, you don't have that larger opportunity for growth.
Yeah.
And that's what I look at. It was a nice, good, large opportunity for growth for us.
Nice. Well, since then, what have been some of your biggest wins in Coastal Pay in the business?
Yeah, now that we got over that, about 3 years ago, we started building software and developing, and that's been really exciting. Just this year, we finally released the software that we've been spending 2 to 3 years building, and watching the software actually serve a purpose and help businesses, help customers, solve problems, move us quicker. Even though software does come with a lot of bugs and challenges, once you work through those bugs and challenges, that upside is very, very good. So, we've built an onboarding platform, similar to kind of what Stripe has built. We've built a nonprofit gateway. We've built CRM tools, automation tools. So far, we've built 9 applications.
Wow.
And, I manage 4 development teams, and we're constantly developing software that solves problems that we feel the market is looking for. It's cool because we kind of just started our development journey, and as time goes by, we'll listen to our customers and build more software that we feel will help out our industry and our clients.
Nice. And for your company and building software, I saw that your software at the retreat, and the onboarding platform was legit. It was very easy to use, fast. But you said you had some challenges building it as well. The product's amazing, but what were the biggest challenges in making that product come to life, I guess?
Yeah, so That first one, we went through 3 iterations, version 1, 2, and 3. And, version 1, it's like the basic concept, it works, right? And then version 2, it's like it works, but it actually kind of looks good and it's smooth. And we're kind of looking for like that, like beautiful UI and kind of a smooth process, frictionless process for the customer. That's kind of the front end. But to answer your question, the challenges are always the bugs, right? It's like they build it and then this doesn't work, this happens and then this doesn't work. And so, I think development is that cycle of we're just working through those bugs and getting them all out. If I think about an Apple and an iPhone, right? You see all the updates that they do, right? Because they're same thing. So they've got, tens or hundreds of millions of users that are using an iPhone. So that many user base, you're going to find more bugs. And so us, we're working through those bugs to kind of make it as frictionless and as clean and as optimal of user experience as we possibly can.
Good. Do you recommend that every business should consider adding a software component to their business for business owners?
I would say yes. In today's day and age, kind of what we did is we were a payment processing company. We signed up merchant accounts. And I felt like software can be useful and powerful and helpful to a company. We took a step back and we thought about what is the biggest pain point in our industry and how can a software and application help solve that pain point. And I think any business can go and kind of listen to whatever pain points or whatever their customers want or need. And if they can take that biggest pain point and solve it and build a software around it and just start with just a basic software and then grow from there. I think, when we first started 2 to 3 years ago, we didn't fully think through that we would have the software that we have today. And we just kind of kept working at it little by little. And now we look at like what we have today and we're like, wow, this is actually pretty powerful and pretty awesome software that actually helps customers.
Nice. Great advice. Travis, it's been a great podcast. 2 more questions before you go, though.
Let's do it.
Number 1 is for those watching that's looking to either start a business or scale their business, what's like the biggest piece of advice you have for that person watching?
Yeah, I think if I look at myself, the passion, right? If you have that passion and you're passionate about what you do, that gets transferred onto your team, onto your clients. That passion is contagious. Mm-hmm. So passion and then also persistence, right? When we started, whether we started the company 11 years ago and we look at where we're at today, or whether it's the software, right, that we started, and it was just, if you saw our form stack application, our version 1, you looked at it wasn't very sexy. But now you look at, what we have today, and, we hired the UX designer from Coca-Cola, that the front end on our software, and you look at where we're at today, it's, you just gotta stick with it, right? And have that persistence.
Awesome. Last question is for someone who's on the fence of joining EO or not, why should that person maybe, consider taking that step and joining EO and going all in?
Yeah. So, for me, EO has been phenomenal, right? It's helped me grow. And, I take a look at your values, and if you value growth personally and professionally and you want that, then, this is the platform to help you grow 100%.
Cool. Travis, thank you so much for coming on and being our first guest. It was wonderful. And thanks for your time.
Thank you, Jason. It's been a fun podcast and looking forward to hearing more.